Hey guys, welcome to the movie review. My name's Brandon, this is my wife Abby, and we just finished watching The Taking of Deborah Logan. So if you're looking for some quick reasons as to why you should watch this movie, we're both going to give 3 reasons why we enjoyed it and why we recommend it to you, and I think Abby's going to go ahead and kick it off with her number 1.
My numero uno point is that it brings in an actual progressive disease, and it's really hard sometimes to distinguish what is the disease, what is the possession, and it makes it very real. Even if we're not all older people experiencing the disease, chances are you know someone in your family has had this disease or you've had experience with it. Even if you haven't, it's just freaking scary, the disease itself. So to pair that with the possession, it makes it relatable, it makes it real while also being, you know, like a foreign object. It makes it a possession movie.
Yeah. My number 1. The actors.
Yeah.
Absolutely great cast. Unknown for the most part. You said something about Jill Larson, who plays Deborah Logan, being in soap operas or something.
Yeah.
But basically, you've never seen any of these actors unless you watch a lot of obscure stuff. But
you saying soap operas are obscure?
Yeah.
Son?
They're just really great actors. Whoever decided that these were the people to do this did a great job. They're believable, and I just really enjoy the actors. And go ahead with your 2.
Number 2. One of the biggest things that turns me off about horror movies is, especially possession movies, is let's pick a name out of the Bible and make that the demon that we have. This movie, there's an actual backstory, there's a plot for why this possession happened, and it's really good. It's just a good plot, it's a good backstory as to why there is this possession happening.
My number 2 is cinematography. The jump cuts are amazing, there are jump scares. I'm not going to say how many because I don't want to ruin it for you, but the camera work's impeccable, the lighting's amazing. You can actually see their soft boxes and lighting equipment and cameras in some of the scenes because it's supposed to be a found footage rough draft of their documentary for her PhD. Mm-hmm. So just the cinematography is super impressive, it's really good, and it feels real. It feels like a documentary. It doesn't feel like a found footage movie. Your 3rd?
Number 3. Can you see that? 3. I didn't think this far for 3. I really only wanted to share those 2 points, but I'll come up with one on the spot. 3. I was looking through my hand for a couple spots in the movie. Which in my old age of 21 has become more and more of something that I do because I get scared easier now. But there were parts that truly terrified me. The jump scares weren't really jump scary, they had a build up. And I knew that something was coming, but I wasn't quite sure what. There were definitely scary scenes, and I think that this movie's ability to scare me throughout the whole thing, even when there weren't jump scares, it was just scary from the moment something weird started to happen to the end with, I can't say the end with the...
Basically, it was scary from beginning to end, and it was a good movie. My 3rd point is pretty similar to that, actually. That the fact, midway through the movie, maybe 3/4 of the way through the movie, there's an amazing scene. You know what I'm talking about. It's upstairs related.
Okay.
That's all I'm going to say, but it sparks word of mouth, I think. I know, for example, when I go back to work Monday, I'm definitely going to tell people to go watch this and then come talk to me about this scene. So I think it sparks that kind of word of mouth, which can make this not just a Netflix exclusive movie. It can become... I want this movie to become a cult classic,
It has
honestly.
the potential.
It really does. And we could be over-talking it. You might go see this and be like, wow, they are stupid. But from my opinion, I very, very much so recommend it. We've got a camera crew, 3 people. We've got Mia, Luis. His name's Louis. And Gavin. Gavin's awesome. He's our favorite character.
Gavin is what every person would be in a horror movie if horror movies were real life.
Yeah, Gavin is great. So basically your movie starts off, the camera crew gets there, and we find out that there's an agreement has been made between Sarah and the camera crew that they will be there to film this documentary as long as they pay for the house, which is going in foreclosure due to their bad financial situation.
Monies.
Yeah, because medical bills are outrageous, and they live in Virginia, so yeah.
And it's a big house.
Yeah, it's a very large house. It's out in the country.
Hold on, I was gonna talk about the neighbor Harris.
Harris, our boy Harris.
There's this country bumpkin Harris who lives next door who you don't think is shady, but some stuff may happen.
Harris is a shady motherfucker.
Foreshadowing.
So the first third of the movie is a general medical documentary. You're very much so believing that her Alzheimer's is progressing, and all the weird shit that starts happening is just her.
Like normal Alzheimer's stuff, like forgetting where you put stuff and blaming other people for stealing your stuff and just freaky stuff like that. Oh, and they set up cameras via found footage, paranormal activity style, like in the hallways and the bedrooms, like focused in the halls, the kitchen, pointed at the bed, so it sort of gives like an overview of her just sort of starting to lose her mind with the disease.
Yeah, the actress that played Deborah Logan, the main character, is Jill Larson. I don't think she's been in anything else.
No, she was in All My Children.
Okay. Anyway, she's amazing. Very convincing.
Yeah.
If you've ever seen someone with Alzheimer's, it's scary how true to the disease she can do it. It really is insane. So basically, things become uncovered. The town has a secret, just like everything.
There's some. It's not a spoiler alert. There's some serious like serial killer like story, and he's like really infamous for doing these ritualistic killings of girls, and he was Canadian because Canadians are pretty chill, but this one Canadian's not chill.
I'm pretty sure that was a huge spoiler. That's like
it's not
the underlying.
No, it's not a spoiler saying that this Canadian guy killed girls. It's serial killer lore. That's part of the movie. Is that some serial killer lore gets not a spoiler alert.
So in short, we find out some shit that ain't really cool.
No.
Yeah.
Yes, the shit's cool.
No. What do you think about it? What did you think? How did it stack up to Conjuring, Paranormal Activity?
Nothing beats The Conjuring
kind of
in my
stuff.
mind. I think it's one of the best found footage movies that have came out, which is why I was surprised that it was directly released to Netflix, because it was well produced, the acting was phenomenal, and some of the reviews I quickly read before we made this talk about how they think that the camera crew was really flat and not dynamic at all, but I think that they did show like some dynamic signs, especially with Gavin. He's like I said earlier, he's like all of us if we were in a horror movie, but I think that the cast it was good acting, good production, and the camera work was good, which is one of the things that I hate the most about found footage type movies, is that they focus too much on the found footage type aspect of it, which I guess is the whole point, but shaky camera work and bad lighting sort of gets old 45 minutes into the movie. But with this movie, you don't really get that.
Yeah, so we don't see a whole lot of Louis or Louis or...
Louis!
Yeah, so we don't really see a whole lot of him. Maybe 2 scenes.
He has a really funny scene, though.
Yeah, you really only see him for like maybe 5 minutes total throughout the entire movie, but he's behind the camera, so you hear him talking. Mia.
You don't know how to say the name.
I don't.
Mia.
I really don't know how to say names.
Like, in Evil Dead, her name's Mia. Like, we're big Evil Dead fans, and he's like, oh, Maya, no Mia. It's Mia.
It is Mia. Anyhoozles, Mia and Sarah have a very back and forth relationship. They click well, so you see a whole lot of them interacting and.
How many days was it? Did it get up to like 85 days? Because I remember
about halfway through the movie, we're looking at like 47. I remember. So
they have a lot of time to develop a relationship, and if anyone's ever worked in a situation with elderly people or just been around elderly people for a while, I mean, you develop closely with them too, especially if they have progressive diseases like that. So I think the time. Like, in Paranormal Activity, like, that's all within, what, like a week, the first movie?
Yeah, it's
so
like,
this
it's
movie
a week
gives you a long time to reflect on, like, her disease, and then also they get to build these relationships.
Yeah. They don't, I mean, it's not like 47 different couple minute clips. There's
flows.
Yeah, it flows well. There's jumps. You don't really notice it's 47 days.
Plus.
Yeah, it's very good continuity with the characters and their interaction, and Harris, for example, being pissed off that they're there, and just all that kind of stuff flows super well.
One of the things that I liked about... I really liked that they chose an elderly woman to be the possessee, I guess, is what you would call her, the possessed.
Yeah.
Because usually in these movies, it's a young person who gets possessed, and it's sort of... While most of us are young people, it makes it really hard to relate to it, but for some reason, having Deborah be an older woman made it a lot more relatable, for me at least, and the fact that she had a progressive disease like Alzheimer's, which deals terrible things with your memory, it made it really interesting and even scary just to try to figure out what is the possession and what is her disease. And sometimes the lines were kind of blurred and you couldn't really tell what was what, which is honestly one of the scariest parts about the movie, I think.
Yeah, I would say the first half, there's zero clues to possession, paranormal, anything like that.
There's little things, but weren't. It mostly focuses on the disease, but not in a way that's not scary, because you do get a few things that just are like unsettling. Not really jump scares per se, but there are a few things that are unsettling. You start to see like a little bit of signs of her deterioration through the possession, not really the disease, and that's where you start to be able to distinguish what is what.
So if you happen to see The Taking of Deborah Logan in your Netflix doobly-doo, and you feel like checking it out, quick review, like a 4.2 I'd give it. It's a solid movie. If you like anything horror, paranormal, thriller, mystery, it's all around it's a great movie, great actors, great directing.
Yes, I agree.
4.2?
No.
No?
I'm going to give it a 4.2.5.63.
She's got a one up me. So yeah.
Marriage.
4.2/4.3. Great film. Check it out. Anything beyond this point becomes our discussion. Spoilers.
Also,
she spoils shit.
Don't let the crappy poster art deter you from this movie, because the poster art's really crappy.
I disagree. I think the poster art's amazing. Netflix changes it a lot, so you might not see the one we're talking about. But it's basically just a red background and foreground with her face post-deterioration there with, like, you know about Helvetica, with Helvetica text overlaid. Very simplistic, but it also reminds me of 80s, 90s horror.
It just seems like it's a cheesy Netflix B-rated horror movie, which isn't bad. I love those movies. But from the poster, that's what it makes it seem like for me. It just looks like kind of poor quality photoshopping. I think it's her eyes. Her eyes have like a weird thing to them. But to each his own.
This very much is the definition of a B horror movie, though. It didn't get a theatrical release. I did not see a trailer. Mm-hmm. I saw a copy of it at Walmart.
Really?
Yeah, I think we saw a copy of it at Walmart, but I could be wrong. But I mean, it just showed up on Netflix, basically, and now people are like, oh, this is here, this is amazing.
Okay,
you know?
well, I saw it on Netflix. I was looking for something to watch. It was either last night or earlier this morning, and it only had 3 stars.
Yeah.
And then I was on Tumblr, and I saw a GIF of everyone. If you've seen the movie already, you know the part I'm talking about. In the end, towards the climax, which is something I want to talk about because there's not really a climax in this film. Kind of irked me. But towards the end, you know the scene I'm talking about. I saw a GIF of that on Tumblr. And I was like, Brandon, look at this. This is insane. We have to see this. I saw it on Netflix earlier. So we got on Netflix, and it has like 4.5 stars, which I've never seen a Netflix star system like on one movie go up that much within 24 hours.
Yeah,
so
it's crazy.
That has to be a good movie.
Well, at this point, today is the 1st of November.
November 1st.
So it's been out for 10 days? 11 days?
Yas?
Yeah, it's been out for 10 or 11 days at the time of filming this. And so there's not a whole lot of talk about it, but it's good. It's very good, and the reviews reflect that. The ending is insane, right? The very last 20 to 30 seconds is
with the girl?
Is the girl throughout the movie, who's weird anyway. It gives me a weird vibe. But anyway, the very, very, very last scene in the movie is her just fucking smiling. Just the smile she gives you with enough of a head tilt to be creepy and not just a little kid smile. They could make a sequel, I think.
Okay.
It wouldn't be good.
This could be a lie because it was on the internet. But I did see that someone said on IMDb that there was a 1 in parentheses after the title. Did you see that? Which means that there could be a sequel. They could be setting it up for a sequel. Google that shit right now.
My IMDb is already pulled up, and I remember. Yeah, there's. So it's not directly in the title though. It's like it's the title, and then you've got a parentheses, a Roman numeral 1, and then a parentheses, and the date it came out. So I don't know if that's just the way they categorize it.
There's a little speculation that there could be a sequel, but
I hope so. I could do it. Even if it sucked, I'd watch it. I'd watch it. I just like you can scroll your thumbstick on Netflix and find 6 movies that are The Possession, The Exorcism, The something something, and then name.
Yeah.
Like, I complain about it a lot, like Jack Reacher, John Wick, all these, it's just a first and last name movie. As soon as I see that as your title, I don't care. I just immediately disregard it. So to have the interest from social media websites of this movie before really complaining about the title, kind of, like you said, redeemed.
Do you think that it would have had an audience if it was just called The Taking? Do you think that would have affected it? I mean, people are obviously know about the blank of name movies because they're a popular thing. I mean,
well, normally when you see like The Possession of, they can put any name there and sell it off as a C or D horror movie on Netflix because I love Netflix to death, but they will pick up basically anything. It'll be on there for a couple weeks, 2 people will watch it, and it'll get a 1-star review because that's all it's worth. You know, it was a YouTube video that got sold to Netflix, basically. So I think it redeems the blank movies for me.
Yeah, the blank movies. That's a good category to call
it's
them.
Weird. Yeah, most people probably know what we're talking about. Harris, though, Harris was cool as hell. Loved Harris, but we find out that Harris wasn't like the guy.
He wasn't the guy next door.
He was like once you figure out who Harris is and the situation that the family's in, you're like, oh, Harris did it, you know, oh, Harris is in on it in a good way.
I mean, he's acting suspiciously. He's like the neighbor who wants to protect him.
Yeah.
Whatevs.
But we find out that the exact opposite person who you thought did it, and that Harris was just the onlooker. And it's an insane plot twist. I would say that probably piqued my interest up for the climax. I got a really, like, adrenaline high at that point because I was like...
Okay, one of the things that I did like about it was in all these possession movies, it's like random demon possesses this person by some mishap.
Yeah, no explanation.
In this movie, there's an explanation, and that's one of the things that I really liked about it, is that this movie had backstory, this movie had depth, this movie had a plot line, and I loved that.
Earlier, it was nice to see an older person getting possessed. If you remember, they go to a professor of sorts. I don't know what he professes in.
It was anthropology.
Anthropology, okay. And he goes that these demons or vengeful spirits prey on younger people, weaker people, or older people. So basically, the 2 spectrums closest to death and life.
Yeah.
Old, you know, super young, super old, and then sickly people.
And Deborah Logan has weak and sick against her.
Yeah,
which
she's
makes
old
her...
and she has this disease.
But
so...
it's not just a random demon that's preying on her.
No.
It's the spirit. Okay, spoilers. I know we've already cut this part of the...
Basically, at this point, if you're still watching, you've probably seen the movie and like fat people, so...
Yeah. A potato flute.
No, you can't. We were in the middle of a discussion. What were you saying? I'm leaving that in.
So there's serial killer lore, and you sort of find out that there used to be this guy who was a doctor, and he did these like rituals, and he killed 4 young girls when they just started their periods or something like that. Something about innocence.
Yeah, like the break from innocence to womanhood was what they were like.
Yeah, and he never got to complete the ritual, and you don't know why, and he just disappeared. Later on, you find out that the mother has something to do with it, and then
Deborah.
Deborah. Harris later confesses that Sarah, the daughter of Deborah, was set up to be the fifth victim. And we find this out because Deborah ran switchboard phone thingies and she heard that he was planning on killing her daughter, so she did something about it.
Yeah, and it takes 5 victims for him to grant immortality.
Immortality, I forgot about that.
That was the purpose behind him doing this. He just wasn't crazy. I mean, he was crazy, clearly.
Yeah.
But he just didn't have one day where he's like, fuck it, I'm gonna kill 4 people. He was scared of dying, he was getting sick, he was getting old. And
he had Lou Gehrig's disease.
Yeah. ALS Ice Bucket Challenge. So this guy thought, let's get immortality, and I won't die. So the 5th victim was going to be Sarah, but we find out that Deborah,
our buddy Deb,
knifed him in the throat with a spade.
Yeah, because she's a gardener. You find that's one thing through the movie that she often goes back to. She's an avid gardener.
She loves her gardening.
Painter.
But I thought it was funny when they said stabbed him with a spade, because earlier in the movie she goes fucking ape shit on Gavin because she thought Gavin took her spade.
Mm-hmm.
You remember that?
Yeah.
Lost it and tried to kill him the same way.
I wonder if her spade is like a pocket knife for some people. She's like, gotta have my spade.
Yeah, it's like,
buddy, boy.
Or maybe that's the thing that the demon latched onto.
Yeah, because we all watch Supernatural. Anyway, that was one of the things that I liked, was that there was actually a backstory to why she was being haunted, possessed, whatever, by this person, and why it was sort of demonic, because he was dabbling in black art, occult, stuff like that.
I cared about her. I cared about her after the possession. Normally, there's no reason they were possessed. We don't care. The only person you really care about are two or three people who are the victims. And then you're like, oh man, this sucks or whatever. But I cared about her. I was hoping, she would get better. She wouldn't die. This kind of stuff.
Hold on. We mentioned the little girl earlier, but we didn't even give any explanation for the girl. There's a girl in the hospital where Deborah is because they just think that she's crazy. Well, not crazy, because she's sick. That's all they think she is she's sick. It's a reaction to her medicine. All these crazy things that are happening are just reactions to her medicine. She has split personality they throw around, whatever. So she takes a liking, / the demon thingy inside her takes a liking to a girl in the cancer ward, and she abducts her and stuff like that. But at the end scene, she sort of just takes her to these mine shafts where the serial killer guy had, I'm gonna sneeze.
The Monacan Mills, which was an underground...
Are you gonna leave that in there?
Your sneeze? Yeah. People love sneezes. Makes you more personable. So this Mill Hill thingamabob was an Indian?
No, they never say that.
Yeah. They said Native American, which I thought was funny.
Whatever. There's a mill. He digs her down in there, and stuff happens, and there's I'm a rattlesnake.
Yeah, the gif that's circulating all over the interwebs is the last.
Yeah, so that's the girl who we talked about earlier, who I thought, a lot of people, I think, through the few reviews that I read, felt that the movie was too long, and that last sort of end scene was kind of drawn out. And even when we were watching it at the end there, when they were in the mine, and she's calling out for Sarah after they had burned the bones, or the body, whatever the remains were left there from the Canadian guy, I thought that the camera was going to focus on them, and Deborah, post-possession, wasn't really going to be post-possession, and she was going to give a creepy smile and take a bite out of Sarah, and I thought that would have been a really good way to end it, but it didn't. It cut to a news team pulling her out and stuff like that, and then
That's a common ending, though, is for it to not actually be over and then cut and whatever.
Yeah.
But it also felt very Blair Witchy down in that cabin, that cavern thing, which I thought they were going to do. I thought it was going to go darkness, twist, turn, some screaming, credits. I thought it was going to be a very Blair Witch ending, which I think they could have set up very easily, but they didn't.
Yeah, because the camera was going in and out, so they totally could have gone that way.
Yeah, they took all the horror, paranormal, everything you kind of were like, oh, I've seen this before, and they were like, no, you didn't actually, and then they change and do something else with it.
But it was still very, it wasn't new and it wasn't refreshing, but it was relatable and it was fun to watch.
Yeah, I think if it would have been a mainstream movie with a theatrical release, it would have kind of sparked a revival of more of these Netflix exclusive B-movie, that kind of stuff, because they're slowly dying out. They're getting less.
Yeah, well, the money's not there.
Yeah, because, I mean, this one didn't get a theatrical release, but I think it has potential to become a popular film. It's very good. It just works very well. So go check it out right now. Go down, leave a comment, tell us we suck at movie reviews because I know and we're going to get better at it. Give me a thumbs up because I'm fat and cute. And subscribe and we'll get more content out to your way.
I married this guy.